Hi, and welcome back to Frost Creek. I'm Ben Welsh, your head golf professional, and continuing our spring video series here to get you tuned up for summertime as we near the golf season. Today I thought we'd talk a little bit about those longer approach shots coming into the green, either out of the fairway or maybe even out of the rough, and a few, either the clubs that we use and or the approach that we take to get a little bit better with those longer clubs. I thought we should talk a little bit about sort of the two main factors that make those longer shots challenging. So part of that becomes what I refer to as finding our longest playable iron in your bag. Now, longest playable means the one that you can hit consistently most of the time. And so for some people that might even be as low as, say, a 7-iron or maybe even 8-iron that you feel comfortable with most of the time. Not to say that you can't hit a good shot once in a while with that 6, 5, or 4-iron, but that you don't feel probably that consistent or confident in that club most of the time. And so as we get to finding that longest playable iron, we can start to fill in with hybrids. And a lot of people have hybrids now. They're not really a new thing anymore, but I think it's interesting if you don't have one, or maybe what you do have in your bag doesn't fill that gap very well for you, or even as that you own a hybrid and you just don't hit it that well. So anymore in the marketplace, we've got lots of different things to try and lots of ways that technology can be helpful. This is a TaylorMade M3, and so now some of these hybrids are even adjustable. So we can take a hybrid that's, say, 19 degrees and we can tune it up or down a degree or two in loft. We can move weights around in the sole and help you fight that fade or draw that you might get on those longer shots. So we can certainly use technology, which will help as we get into the wood technology and even further into our fairway woods and obviously in drivers. But I think aside from the club head design, one of the most important factors in those longer shots that people often forget about is the length of the club. And not just how far it goes, but the actual length of the shaft. So I've got here, this is 5-iron, a 3 hybrid, and a 3 wood. And just looking at the way that this loft changes, in fact, for example's sake, I've also got 9-iron here, and if we take this 9-iron and set it next to our 3 wood, look at the length difference that we get here. It's no wonder that this 9-iron is more easy to be consistent with and probably to get up in the air as our swing changes as the shaft gets longer and we get a little bit farther from the ball. But I feel like a little bit our mentality changes, and I know myself, I tend to swing a little bit bigger than I should when I've got a longer club or a long way to the green. So I want to give you a couple of things to think about as we get into talking about some of our longer approach shots and maybe some things that you can do when you practice to get better with them. Okay, well, we're going to start with this little bit of the transition in longer shots from, say, our longest playable iron, and I've got 5-iron here, might be a common longest playable, and moving into the hybrids. So I don't know about you, but I tend to make a better swing when I'm more comfortable. I shift my weight better, I stay on top and down through impact a little bit better. And so you can imagine as you get toward a longer club that you start to feel just that little bit less comfortable. You may even make a different swing. And so we'd like to sort of bridge that gap a little bit, even as an athlete, that you get out there and you're able to feel the same relative motion from your irons into the wood. So starting here, I've got this 3 hybrid and a 5-iron. Now if I set them down here, I've got the butt end of the club matched up, and just for example's sake, you can see that although it's not that much, my body is club head width farther from the ball with the wood than the iron or the hybrid here. So what I find is that, I'm going to set this down for a second. What I find is that some people, as they start to move to a longer shafted club, they get a little uncomfortable, and I see people tend to sort of reach out for it, or like you're afraid of this longer shaft going to hit down too early and chunk it. And so people tend to reach for it. And you can imagine from here, it's hard to deliver the club consistently through impact. And that inconsistency can either be sort of some low bladed type shots, you might chunk it, you might just be inaccurate. And so I find that the more that we could make this club feel like that one when we practice, then we might find our way into sort of transitioning a little more smoothly. So now if I grab this 5-iron again, and just again looking at that difference, maybe 2 inches difference. So if I grip this hybrid at, say, 5-iron length, it may help me, and I'll turn this way so you can see it. Again, as people reach for it, we tend to not shift our weight or make little adjustments. So if I can make this shorter to feel like that 5-iron, I might start to just hit it more solidly or more like my iron swing. Okay, so there I feel pretty good weight shift and balance, feels good. So as I move through this a little bit, and what you might do is you might have to choke down and stay there for a little while until you find solid contact, and then work your way back into gripping it more closely to the end of the shaft, but feeling like, again, that you stay sort of on top of it, down through impact, and making that nice balanced swing. There. So again, a longer shaft is going to carry more club head speed, using the hybrid design of the head for a little bit increased loft and being able to fly those shots onto the green and give you a little closer approaches. Now, as we make that transition from the hybrids into a true fairway wood, we're going to see the same increase in length, maybe 1.5 inches or 2. So now we're talking almost 4 inches worth of difference from that longest playable iron into a fairway wood. Now this is where I see a lot of people, and myself included, start to really even make a different golf swing just by that discomfort or maybe reaching for a couple extra yards. And so I think through practice, when we go to the range or even out on the golf course, start to work on choking down on that fairway wood 2.5 or even 3 inches, maybe toward the bottom of the grip. And just find that place where you feel balanced, where you can swing within yourself and work toward more solid contact with the fairway wood. There, feels pretty good. Okay, now again, we might stay there for a while and find consistent solid contact with the fairway wood, but being shorter, and work yourself back into gripping it more at the butt end of the club and finding that difference of yardage that you might get out of the increased length. Or you may find that you just lose solid contact and sort of lose accuracy, in which case we'll know how to make this club most playable for you. So I hope this helps you a little bit. Please let us know if you have any questions, and we'll look forward to seeing you back here at Frost Creek.